Hi everyone, my name is Shauna in case you don't know, and welcome back to another video. In today's video, I'm going to be doing episode 4 of my series where I let a random wheel choose what movies I watch. The last 3 episodes of the series was just movies from HBO Max, and now I have the movies from HBO Max on the wheel, but I also have movies from Peacock and from Prime Video. So there's going to be a little more variety in the options for this video. I am going to be talking about 5 movies in this video because I have 6 days of house sitting, so 5 nights, and I watch movies at night. So this is going to be quite a long video. If you haven't seen my other videos in this series, the movies can be literally anything that I have added on my want to watch list. So they could range from action movies to anime to documentaries to horror movies to romance, anything in between there or other genres I didn't mention, as long as it is on my list of stuff I want to watch. So because I added more stuff, the wheel's looking a bit different. Each little sliver is really tiny. There are some that I'm definitely not feeling like watching, but I'm gonna watch whatever this chooses for me, even if it's one I don't feel like watching, so let's see what I get. The audio is glitching right now. I don't know if it's even picking up the audio on my phone. Okay. We have a Prime Video option. We have Night Swim. So Night Swim is a horror and fantasy movie that is 1 hour and 39 minutes, and it came out this year. I've seen the trailer and a couple clips on TikTok and it looked interesting, so I wanted to give it a watch. I've heard very mixed things about it. Most of the movies that you'll see in this series of movies that I am watching are movies that I'm watching because there's one actor or actress that I like in it. However, with this movie, it's just one that I saw the trailer and it looked interesting. This one says, a family moves into a new home unaware that a dark secret from the house's past will unleash a malevolent force in the backyard pool. So let's look at the cast and see if I recognize anyone. Okay, I recognize Wyatt Russell. I'm not sure from what, but I've seen him and stuff before. And that is the only actor I recognize in this cast, so this is going to be fun that this is going to be mostly actors and actresses that I have never seen in anything before. So the next time you will see me, I will have a little bit of a different setting and I will have watched Night Swim and I'll be telling all of you my thoughts on Night Swim. Okay, I watched Night Swim. I'm gonna tell you all about it. But first I want to say, if my voice sounds weird at all, I'm currently having a flare-up of my GI issues. And so like, it feels like there's a rock stuck in my throat. Literally all I had was an uncarbonated strawberry flavored water because I was trying to get variation when I was drinking and my throat was like, screw you. And yeah, I don't know if it impacts my voice. Hopefully it doesn't impact my voice, but it really, really is like distressing. I hate having health issues, in case you can't tell. It really is fun. Okay, so I watched the movie Night Swim. So the way I would describe this film is that it's about a family who moves into a new house with a pool in the backyard. They're really excited about the pool at first, especially because the main character, Ray, is a former baseball player and he has a bunch of health issues, and he was told that to do like swimming as part of physical therapy would be really good for him. And he's noticing that it is helping quite a bit. But while it's helping him, there's also strange things going on in the pool. The kids are seeing things, they're feeling people grabbing them, the mom feels something's off, so there's a mystery surrounding what's going on in the pool, and it seems like it's out for blood. So I enjoyed this movie a lot more than I thought I would. A lot of people warned me that this was a really bad movie and that they really didn't like it, and a lot of people warned me that it wasn't scary. I watched this alone in the dark at like 2 in the morning, so it was scary to me, but I think that if I was watching it during the daytime with a friend and we were like laughing about it, I don't think it would be as scary. The way the movie ended, I feel like there's a potential for a sequel, but I also feel like it would be nice as just a standalone based on the way it's ended. So I'm really curious what they're going to decide to do, if they're going to try and capitalize off of it more or if they're going to try and just like keep it as is. I think the actors did a really incredible job. The standout performances for me was Amelie, oh gosh, I don't know how to say her last name, Amelie Hofrili. She's the daughter, and Gavin Warren, he's the son, and Jodie Long, who you don't see until much later into the film. These 3 performances just felt like such incredible performances where they really understood the character and captured things well. Now, I'm a little pissed off at Izzy. I won't forgive Izzy for that comment that she made regarding the Tide Pod. However, I think her performance as that character was done really well. I really liked how a lot of this horror film is shots from under the water, because if you've ever been in a pool and tried to look up at what's happening outside of the pool while you're under the water, things get a little distorted, and it can be a little hard to see what's going on, and I feel like that worked really well at making this film creepier, and those shots were done really, really well. I think the filming of this movie was just done really well to take a story that could seem just cheesy and simple and to sort of complicate it and make it creepier based on the shots they were using. I also felt like the soundtrack was done really well to heighten the sense of tension and suspense in this film. I do have one big question though. So slight spoilers ahead. I will give you 5 seconds to click away from this video if you don't want spoilers, or just skip ahead like 20 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So the entity in this pool works by taking a life in exchange for getting a wish. The pool took a cat's life. Why doesn't that qualify? And what was the point of the pool taking the cat's life? Because I feel like either the wish should have just been granted after the cat was taken, or the cat shouldn't have been taken at all. I don't understand the logic for taking the cat. I also am really not happy with this film because of the cat situation. I thought that was not great. I don't like cat or dog deaths in films ever. Also, the reason I'm not giving this film a higher star rating is because some of the performances didn't feel the greatest. Like specifically the main character, who was played by Wyatt Russell, I wasn't super thrilled with his performance. I also felt like it took a while before this film actually like reached its full potential and felt suspenseful and creepy. It felt like just for such a long time it was just a lot of build up before we got to anything scary. That's why I'm giving it 3 stars. I also feel like there was room for potential for better things. However, I do still find it a pretty enjoyable film, so that's why I gave it 3 stars. And 3 stars means I like a film, so it's not like it's a bad film, it's just not one of my favorites. So now let's choose a movie that I'm gonna watch tomorrow. We have the wheel back and let's see what I get. This is so much different than the one I just watched. So this is Impractical Jokers, the movie. So when I was in the hospital back in 2020, I became obsessed with Impractical Jokers. I found them to be really funny, and it was like a good distraction from my symptoms, which I think will be a great thing for me to watch this film tomorrow if this isn't better by tomorrow. So basically the Impractical Jokers is just these 4 dudes, and they just sort of like give each other funny like challenges and different things to do, and it's a pretty funny film. They do border and sometimes cross the line in between like what is okay and appropriate to do and what is like morally acceptable to do, and sometimes they cross the line into something a little more, so I have a little bit of a love-hate relationship with them in that regard. However, I'm really excited to watch this film. It says the story of a humiliating high school mishap from 1992 that sends them practical jokers on the road competing in hidden camera challenges for the chance to turn back the clock and redeem 3 of the 4 jokers. So I'm curious how this one will play out. I'm wondering if there's gonna be like acting, or if it's gonna be sort of like the film but more just like traveling around the country, because I feel like that's a potential for it to happen. My personal favorite Joker is Murr. I love Murr, and then I would probably go Q, Sal, Joe. I think that's my ranking of the Jokers. Let me see if there's anyone else that I recognize in this cast. Jaden Smith. Is this where the Jaden Smith tattoo thing comes up? Oh my gosh. Joey Fatone. I don't know if I said his name right. He looks familiar. What? So Sal's dad is in here, it looks like. There's Madison Bailey, who her name sounds really familiar. It's weird, some of the actors that sound familiar, they're just like side characters that don't have a name. So yeah, I'm very excited to watch this film, and I'm very excited to tell you what I think about this film. So I'll see all of you in the next clip after I have seen Impractical Jokers, the movie. So I watched Impractical Jokers, the movie, and my expectations were up here and the movie felt more like down here. So not like at the bottom, but it definitely didn't live up to my expectations. So I am used to watching the TV show where I get lots of laughs. I find it very funny, and I find the cast to be really entertaining. I felt like for the majority of this film, Joe, Murr, and Sal and Q, it seems like we're trying to restrain themselves and not have their true personality shine out, and I think there was a lot of pressure being that it was like a movie and they also had some acting in there. So the challenges towards the end got a bit better because I definitely felt like they relaxed more and became their normal self. I wasn't a huge fan of the skit parts. I also felt like the wigs that they chose for the 4 guys for the like scenes in the like 80s or whatever it was, I don't know if it was the 80s, 90s, I don't know, but whatever like time that was in the past when they were like in high school, the wigs were a choice, and it's not a choice that I'm necessarily like super fond of. I mean, it made me chuckle. So the challenges that I really enjoyed were the Jaden Smith challenge, the challenge with the strippers, I don't know if that's what they were called, and the challenge that was like the interview challenge. I thought those ones were pretty good. I also thought that like the car one was decent, where they were trying to get someone to come over and help with the car. So those ones are pretty decent, but honestly I feel like you can also just like look up those clips online and not necessarily watch the whole movie just to see those, because like those ones take place so much later in the movie, and so much of the movie is just a lot of stuff that isn't that entertaining and interesting. I did like to see the cameos of Jaden Smith in there, and also there's another cameo from another famous actor, and I want to see if anybody will catch that cameo because it caught me really off guard. I literally said what the F as soon as I saw that cameo in there, because he's just sitting in the background eating food, and it's like this uber popular guy. So I ended up rating Impractical Jokers movie 3 out of 5 stars. However, it's more a 3 out of 5 stars. It's more like an okay watch, as opposed to like the movie that I watched last night where I was like, I like this movie. This was more of like just an okay watch. Like, it had its moments. I liked getting to see the 4 Jokers, but the show is so much better, and this movie was one that I wondered a little bit why it was made. I feel like doing a film with this concept but having them just do it like episodes for the show, which I think they have done in the past, but anyways, I think that would have been more effective than doing a whole movie. So that's really my thoughts on this one. Don't really have more thoughts on it. So let me see what my movie for tomorrow is going to be. Also, today is Thanksgiving. This video will go up really late, like way after Thanksgiving, but to those of you who celebrate, happy Turkey Day. I'm not the fondest of this holiday, however, it's a holiday, so gonna wish happy holidays to everyone. Okay, so the spinner wheel is back up. Again, we have Max movies, Amazon Prime movies, and Peacock movies on here. We've gotten 1 Prime movie and 1 HBO Max movie so far. It would be cool to get a Peacock movie just to be like, oh, I watched one from each of the platforms, but also most of the movies I've seen on Peacock I haven't been a huge fan of. So let's see what we're gonna get. Oh my gosh. Well, we got a Prime Video movie, and there's a reason why I have this on my list, okay? I don't know how many Hotel Transylvania films there have been so far. Let me look this up. Okay, there has been 4, and I have seen the first 2. I haven't seen the third one. I watched the first one and was not impressed, and I sort of watched the second one. I had a band teacher who at a certain point towards the end of every year would just like stop teaching and just turn on movies for us, and he did the first 2 Hotel Transylvania films because the third one wasn't out at the time. So I've technically seen the second one, but I also wasn't paying attention that much because I wasn't a huge fan of the first one, so I didn't feel the need to pay attention to the second one. However, the reason why Hotel Transylvania Hotel Transylvania 4 is called Hotel Transylvania Transformania. The reason why this one is on here is because one of my favorite YouTubers is actually in this film, and he took over as Dracula in this film, and that YouTuber is Brian Hull. I will link Brian Hull's YouTube channel down in the description below in case you haven't checked him out. He does really good voice impression, which is the main reason that he's in this film, because he's particularly known a lot for his Dracula voice impression. So sometimes that will happen. A main actor will step up, but they're still going forward with the production, and they need someone who sounds pretty close to the original actor to step in. This happens with side characters, main characters, whoever they need, and they pulled in Brian Hull for this one. And I am super happy that he got this opportunity to be in this film, and I'm gonna watch it to support him, and hopefully it will be better than I'm expecting. So the plot for this one reads, after one experiment, Johnny turns into a monster and everyone else becomes human. Now it has to be seen whether they'll be able to reverse this experiment. It's just everyone has their state of being the opposite of what they normally are. So let's look at the cast. We have Andy Samberg and Selena Gomez back as Jonathan and Mavis. We have Catherine Ham, Jim Gaffigan, Steve Buscemi, Molly Shannon, David Spade, Keegan-Michael Kay, Brian Hull, the reason I'm watching this one. Let me see if there's any other cast members that I recognize in here. Lex Lang, I recognize him because he's a voice actor who's been in some stuff. Michelle Ruff, I just met her this month, actually, earlier this month, and she is an incredible voice actress. She just does additional voices in here, and Lex Lang just does additional voices as well. So, we'll see how this one goes. It could be better than I'm expecting. If I end up liking Hotel Transylvania Transformania, I will be adding Hotel Transylvania 3 onto the spinner wheel if it's on like Prime or anything like that. But Yeah, but this one could just be one where I'm like, it's not great, but support the cast. So let's see how this goes, and hopefully it will be much different than I'm expecting. So I watched Hotel Transylvania, Transformania, and it was better than I was expecting. However, it wasn't like fantastic or anything. It's definitely a film that is very kid-centered and has a lot of kid jokes, and like I feel like if I was a kid I would be cracking up over some of the jokes. I don't think I would have ever been like head over heels in love with this movie. The thing about me and kid movies when I was a kid was that I watched Harry Potter at an early age. Like that was one of my very first memories of watching the first film, and so because of that, the types of stuff that I liked was very limited, and I wasn't always into every single little cartoon thing that everyone else is into. If I was a normal kid, I would for sure love Hotel Transylvania, Transformania. I think this is a good movie for kids because I think it is pretty fast-paced, especially for this style of movie. I think there is a pretty interesting plot for kids. There's like some tense moments for kids and some fun moments for kids. I got bored a little bit, but I feel like if I were a kid, I wouldn't be bored by it. I also feel like there were some good messages for kids that kids could take away from the film. I love Selena Gomez's performance in this film. I honestly didn't remember her performance very well from the first two films. However, I think she is an incredible voice actress in particular, and honestly, her character is an icon and the best part of this entire series. And if you have anything negative to say about that, you can go talk to the wall, because that I feel like is the one thing that we can all agree on when it comes to Hotel Transylvania. Brian Hull did incredible as Dracula, and the thing about it is like I watch so many of Brian's videos that I can recognize his own personal voice in there, but I feel like if I wasn't able to recognize his own personal voice, like because I hadn't watched him a ton, I would have been easily convinced. Now, if you've been rewatching the first three Hotel Transylvania movies over and over and over, I'm sure that you will notice a difference between the original voice actor and Brian Hull. However, I think Brian did a fantastic job, and I think especially kids aren't going to be able to notice the difference. I'd also like to say something that really bugs me about films that has always bugged me since I was a kid is I hate when it comes to the credits that it's always like the most famous people first, because I'm like, yeah, Brian Hull might not be the most famous in this cast compared to someone like Selena Gomez. However, he is literally the main character in this film, so his name should be up there in the credits. Like it should be the first or second name there. However, it's always like, oh, let's do the big name actors who their contract makes it so that their name has to be first in the credits. I'm like, no. Also, it's funny, I was watching this film and like it literally just started, and then it all came back to me that everyone was so upset about the fact that the Invisible Man is ugly. And he is very ugly. I didn't like looking at most of the characters who were monsters that turn into humans. None of them looked great. None of them did, honestly. I see why everyone's upset. I'm just like, how did you take these glasses and this voice and be like, that guy must be hot when he's like a human? Like, where'd that come from? I will never understand that. I know I have mostly positive things to say about this film, but I just think it's not like my personal cup of tea because it's not what I personally enjoy. I just think that there is a lot of positives to the film. So because of that, I gave it 2.5 stars. I would say that like it's really good for kids, and I think I'd recommend it for kids. I think that as an adult watching the film, it is not the greatest. However, if I were to put myself in the shoes of a kid, I would enjoy the film. But I'm not a kid, so that's why I'm giving it 2.5 stars, because I just didn't enjoy it as much as I could have enjoyed it, you know? So now let me pull out my laptop and figure out what the fourth film for this video will be. I'm a little concerned that I'm going to be too tired tomorrow to fully watch a film because I have to wake up early for a therapy session, and then immediately after that I'm hopping on TikTok live with a group of My Hero Academia cosplayers. So yeah, I could be really tired tomorrow night. We have the wheel right here, and let's see what movie it gives us this time. Where's the clicker? There's the clicker. This is a drastic change from the film that I watched tonight, so let's pull up some information about Samaritan. So my reasoning for adding this one to the list is that I thought that the trailer for this movie made it look really good, and I also like one of the actors in the film. One of the actors in the film was in Umbrella Academy, and I really was blown away by his performance there because he's like a kid, but he's acting like so incredibly. So I'm really interested in seeing how this movie will turn out. It says a young boy learns that a superhero who was thought to have died after an epic battle 25 years ago may in fact still be alive. I'm actually writing a story right now that's like the concept of like a hero disappearing and everyone believing them dead, and like a hunt going on to see if they are alive or not. So I'm interested to see the take on this. It's going to be obviously drastically different vibes. My book that I'm working on is very much sapphic, and there is heavy romance in it, and it's not going to be as like action packed as this movie. Let us take a peek at this cast before I end the clip for tonight. So the cast has Sylvester Stallone, who is the main guy, and then, oh god, the actor that I like, I don't even know how to say his name. It's Havon Walton, I think. He's the one that was in Umbrella Academy, and he did incredible in Umbrella Academy. Let me see if I recognize anyone else in here. Another person I don't know how to say their name, Moises Arias? I'm not sure, but I recognize that actor. I recognize Shamik Moore. So those are the only actors that I recognize in this film. I'm curious to see how this film will turn out. I was looking through the cast and I was going, wow, a man, where's the woman? There's like very few women in here. Look, we have a homeless resident. There's a woman. But I was like, this cast is filled with so many men, which like good for them, but also. So I'm gonna watch Samaritan tomorrow night. It is 1 hour and 41 minutes long and it is on Prime Video. And I'm actually really glad that I got Samaritan because I think that it's gonna be a super fast-paced film. And if I'm gonna be tired tomorrow night, I'm gonna need a fast-paced film in order to like keep my brain focused, because when I'm really tired, it's like really hard to focus on things. I can't believe Samaritan is going on my list of favorite movies for this year. Like, I had hopes that it would be good, but I wasn't expecting it to be like a new favorite of mine. So I thought that the movie was really cute, even though there's like violence in it, because I really liked the bond between Joe and Sam. I feel like that was the highlight of the film for me, their bond, and I thought it was super sweet. I also thought the plot twist at the end of the movie was incredible, and if there's a sequel, that would be really cool to see sometime. Now, is there problems with this movie? Yeah, I feel like there's a lot of unexplored territory in this film, a lot of unexplained stuff, so I feel like there's room for improvement. However, I still really enjoyed it, and I did think the action sequences were really creative. I felt like it was a step in a different direction from a lot of other action movies that I've seen because of how creative the fight scenes were. Like, yeah, they're not using like magical superpowers or anything like that, but still the fight scenes were really incredible. Like that tire bounce thing, spot on, loved that. Also, can we just talk about the like car crash scene? Because tell me why I laughed. Like, it was bad because it just caught me so out of the blue, and it was so like dramatic for no reason that I just like laughed. And I'm so confused because I checked the reviews on Letterboxd and everyone was like, oh, this movie's so terrible. Like, there's very few people that actually love the movie. So I'm like in a minority here. And I don't fully get that. Like, was it just overhyped because Amazon did try and hype it up a lot? Like, was it overhyped? Or what happened? Did people just like want a young fit superhero like we typically see in movies? Because yeah, Sylvester Stallone is an older gentleman. He is not the standard attractive guy that we think of when we think of superheroes, which I actually thought was cool. I thought it was cool to see an older person taking on the role of a superhero like this. The movie does start off a little rocky. So like if you're gonna watch the movie, push past that intro part, because that intro part is necessary to explain the story, but I feel like it could have been done differently and done in a way that's a lot more interesting. But yeah, overall I enjoyed this film. I give it 4.5 stars, and I talked very briefly with this because guess who's running low on phone storage again? So I need to find out what my final film for this video is going to be, and I need to just very quickly touch on that before I go and try and clear some space up on my phone so I have enough storage space for tomorrow's clip. So we've got to know Peacock movies, so I feel like it would be fun if we got a Peacock movie, but as I said previously, I haven't had the greatest track record with Peacock movies. A lot of them have been really disappointing, so honestly maybe it would be for the best if we don't get Peacock, but we're just gonna spin it and see what we get. Secret Garden. My question though was, which version of Secret Garden did I have added? So I'm gonna go take a look and let all of you know, because I know that there's multiple versions of the Secret Garden. I have a feeling that this isn't the most recent Secret Garden. Yeah, it's not the newest version, it's the 1993 version, because I know that there was a newer version that came out within the past. Yeah, here's the newer version. The newer version is also on Prime Video, so I don't know why I didn't add that one, but I added the 1993 one. And the 2021 has an actress that I like in it. Oh well, I'm sticking with the one that I originally had on there, 1993. I read The Secret Garden when I was in the 3rd grade, and it was one of the first classics that I read, and I remember really enjoying it. But the thing about the classics that I read when I was in the 3rd grade is I think a lot of them were dumbed down for kids because I understood them really well and I enjoyed them and I thought the pacing was great. And reading classics now as an adult, I'm like, why are most of these written in such confusing ways? So in case you don't know about The Secret Garden, it says a young, recently orphaned girl is sent to England after living in India all of her life. Once there, she begins to explore her new, seemingly isolated surroundings and its secrets. So this is obviously a classic story that's been around for a while, and there has been multiple different adaptations of it. Yes, there's an actress that I like in here. Oh, Maggie Smith, rest her soul. Maggie Smith is in here, and I'm super excited that Maggie Smith is in there because I love her. She's an icon. She's a legend, but she passed recently. I was really emotional about that. Like, way too much. Anyways, she is the only actress that I recognize in this film, and I'm gonna watch it and let all of you know what I think about it in the next clip. I watched The Secret Garden, and why is the story not nearly as exciting as I remember it being when I was a kid? Like, the storyline itself, not just like the way that the movie was made, turned out to be like really dull and boring and uninteresting. I was interested in it because like it was something to watch, but it wasn't boring enough that I was like nearly falling asleep, but it wasn't anything particularly interesting. I also could not stand Mary or Colin. They were both spoiled brats. And there was so many times when I'm like, I wish I could speak my mind to these little children. There is some racism in the film as well as ableism. Also, oh my god, I should have mentioned this first. Oh well, you're getting it now. So apparently there was 2 different versions of the film made in 1993, so they were film adaptations of the book. And the one with Maggie Smith is the one that I didn't have added to my watch list on Amazon Prime, and it is not currently available on Prime Video. So I watched the other 1993 one, and that was the one that I had on my Prime Video watch list. So who knows? I didn't think that the acting was the greatest in this film. I mean, granted, we do have 3 children as the main characters in this show. And can I just say too, Mary doesn't deserve to have Dickon and Martha. I almost forgot Martha's name. She does not deserve those 2. Those 2 are too good and pure for her. And Colin does not deserve anyone, you know? So it was an okay film if you looked at it from the perspective of like filmmaking and stuff, but it was a film that I disliked because I didn't find it very interesting and I didn't like the 2 main characters. Also, one more thing before I give my star rating and end this video is that I found it so funny that they could train a fox, a bunny, a goat, and an owl for this film, but they couldn't train a robin. Like with this robin, you could tell that it was just a random robin that they were recording having normal interactions, and it wasn't like any sort of anything special, so it cut from like normal acting to just this robin out in nature. My phone is running out of storage, so let me finish this video really quickly. So I ended up giving this film 1.5 out of 5 stars. I wasn't a huge fan of it. I think there's probably better adaptations of The Secret Garden out there. So those were the 5 movies that the spinner wheel chose for me to watch, and those are all my thoughts on them. I hope all of you enjoyed this video. If you did, feel free to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to me if you haven't already. A playlist will be linked down in the description below for all the other videos in this series in case you are new to watching this series on my channel, and I hope all of you are having a great weekday, weekend, month. I don't know. I just hope you're having a great life. Until next time, everyone. Goodbye.